Greetings and welcome to our daily walk through the scripture for day 228. That's right. If you've been sticking with it, you are now 228 days into 1 year through the entire Bible. Well done. Keep it up. It's tough, I know. There's some parts that you look at it and go, "Oh my goodness, I got to wrestle through this," but there's other parts that bring incredible joy. Well, it's August 15th, and your readings for today find you in Nehemiah chapter 11 and chapter 12 through verse 26, 1 Corinthians 10:14 through 33, Psalm 34, verses 11 through 22, and Proverbs chapter 21:14 and 16. Now, if you are a parent, you have probably had your little kids, when they were little, depending on what age they are, try to help you with something. You know what I'm talking about? Like maybe you're doing a chore around the house, maybe you're fixing something, maybe whatever it is, but you are trying to do this and they are helping you. And they're not really being a help. Well, one of my favorite verses in scripture comes out of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 in verse 23, and it says, "All things are lawful, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things build up. Let no one seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor." I love this verse because it's something that we all kind of struggle with, and it's something I know I struggle with at least, and that's to figure out, is what I'm doing really being beneficial or helpful? And as a parent, I try to be helpful to my kids, but I recognize that sometimes what I do is not necessarily beneficial to them. What I'm doing for them is not necessarily going to help them in the long run. Sometimes I have to let my kids struggle. Sometimes I have to let my kids grow and stretch because I know that ultimately it's going to build them up. Well, as followers of Christ, we are exposed on a daily basis to opportunities to be helpful and to build people up. But we don't always recognize when the appropriate time to do that is, or what we should be doing for that. Let me give you an example. Social media is a great example. When you get on Facebook, are you, before you posting, considering whether or not what you're posting is being helpful or building someone up? I mean, you're free to post whatever you want on social media, anything that you want on social media, but not everything is going to be helpful, beneficial, or build people up. When you're responding to someone that probably has gotten your ire because of some political thing and you're feeling like you need to respond back, are you being helpful? Are you building someone up? Paul's using this argument. Obviously, he doesn't have social media, but he's using this in terms of how we deal with other believers. Paul spent quite a bit of time over the last couple of chapters talking about building one another up, and he's used the analogy of sacrificial meat. And Paul says, look, I'm not going to cause another brother or sister to stumble by the type of food that I eat. I personally don't care about sacrificial meat, he says, but I'm not going to cause someone else to stumble because I want a good juicy steak. This is the same thing for us. Sometimes we have to learn to be discerning and make sure that we are, in our actions, building other people up. Whatever you eat or drink, whatever you do, do all for the glory of the Lord. That's what he says in verse 31. Give no offense to Jews or to Greeks or to the church of God. In other words, we are on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I know in our jobs, a lot of people have jobs that end, 9 to 5, whatever your hours are. I have been blessed with a job that really literally never ends. When I go to the store, when I go to an athletic event, if I go to any kind of community event, I recognize that I am the pastor and I have to live my entire life as such. Even at home, I can't turn it off because could you imagine a pastor going home and then having a life of complete depravity and then going back out onto the pulpit and talking to things? It doesn't work like that. I have to work really hard and I fail at it a lot, but I try to do my best to make sure that I'm always being the proper witness. That's what Paul is saying here. We need to make sure that we are remembering that we are always a witness for Christ. Whether we realize it or not, We are always there, and we always need to make sure that we are not seeking our own advantage, but that others, as he says to close out our reading for today, may be saved. So, as you go through your day, ask yourself this question: is what I'm doing helpful to others? Is what I'm doing building others up? And if it's not, stop, change course until you are making sure that everything you do builds up and is helpful, that builds up the believers and lets others come to Christ through you. Okay, that's it for today. We'll talk more next time.